A biography is the story of a person's life that's written by someone else. When you read a biography, you can also learn about the time the person lived in. Click the green button to learn more about biographies. Biographies are stories written about real people. This biography is about Thomas Edison. Biographies tell what a person did during his or her life. Thomas Edison was a famous inventor who invented many things. Biographies also tell about real events. Thomas Edison really did record the sound of the human voice for the first time. Most biographies tell how the person made a difference in the world. Thomas Edison invented things that help many people. Biographies explain how a person acted or what they were like. What do you think Thomas was like? Later, you'll read the story and find out. When you want to learn more about someone, read their biography. Look at the cover of the book, Thomas Edison. The picture gives you clues about the biography. Think about the picture and write down what you predict will happen in this biography. Here is the entire biography of Thomas Edison. Click a sentence to hear it read aloud.
Thomas Edison, by Marianne White, illustrated by Owen McOwen. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Thomas Alva Edison recited these words on November 29, 1877. Thomas wasn't reading a nursery rhyme to a child. He was doing something nobody had ever done before. He was recording the sound of the human voice using a machine that he had created. Thomas called his new invention a phonograph. Thomas liked to invent things. His best-known invention was the electric light bulb. He had his own workshop with people to help him in Menlo Park, New Jersey. The workshop looked like a barn, but it was full of scraps of wood, metal, and other things for building his inventions. Thomas worked hard. He often ate while he worked, and sometimes he fell asleep at his desk. When Thomas started working on the phonograph, one of his helpers asked what it was. Thomas told him that the machine could record the sound of the human voice and play it back. The man said it sounded like a foolish idea. He didn't think it could work. Even Thomas was shocked when he turned the handle and heard his own voice. He was surprised that his invention worked right away. When Thomas was sure that the phonograph worked, he took it to the editor of Scientific American magazine. Thomas set the phonograph on the man's desk. He turned the handle. Out came the words, "Good morning. What do you think of the phonograph?" The editor was speechless. Thomas couldn't stop laughing. Soon, a crowd had gathered. No one could believe what they were hearing. A machine that talked. Before the phonograph, when someone gave a speech, the only people who heard it were those in the room at the time. But Thomas's invention changed everything. Not only could people hear someone who wasn't there, they might even hear a person's voice after the person had died. Thomas asked famous people to record their voices on his new machine. Everyone was happy to do it. Even England's Queen Victoria. The poet Robert Browning tried to record a poem he had written, but was so excited that he forgot the words.
If you could hear the voice of someone from the past, whose voice would you choose?
Thomas thought of many uses for the new machine. Blind people could listen to books read aloud. A talking clock would tell people when it was time to eat. Thomas actually made and sold the first talking doll. The doll could sing, laugh, and cry too. Thomas thought about other toys with sounds. He liked the idea of a train that tooted and a toy dog that barked. Thomas wanted the phonograph to help people learn too. He thought children could learn their spelling words by reading them into the machine and playing them back. After some time, however, Thomas realized that most people would use the phonograph to record and listen to music. Not everyone was happy about Thomas's talking machine. Some people thought it was a fake. They claimed Thomas was playing tricks with his voice to create the sound. Others thought people would use the machine instead of writing letters. Many believed they would never again leave their homes to listen to music. One magazine suggested that there would no longer be printed books. People would listen to books recorded on the phonograph rather than read them. By the beginning of 1878, people were flocking to fairs and carnivals to see this unbelievable new invention. They paid a penny to listen to their own voice and to music. They laughed at the recorded sounds of dogs barking and cows mooing. In large cities, crowds gathered in phonograph parlors where they paid to listen to recorded jokes and songs. In April 1878, President Hayes invited Thomas to the White House. When he got there, Thomas waited and waited. Sometime after midnight, the president called Thomas into his office. The president was stunned at hearing a machine that talked. Even though it was very late, he woke his wife so she could hear it too. Thomas didn't leave until nearly 4 in the morning. When Thomas returned home, he was very tired. He needed a vacation. A friend suggested he take a trip to the Rocky Mountains. Thomas stopped his work and went. When he got home, he had so many new ideas, he pushed the phonograph aside. One idea he started working on was electric light for use in homes. Thomas didn't do any work with the phonograph for almost 10 years. But in the spring of 1887, he heard that someone else was working on a phonograph. Thomas was afraid that the other phonograph would be better than his. He worked day and night. He once went nearly 5 days without sleeping. Finally, the improved phonograph was ready. The new machine ran on a motor. No more turning the crank. Thomas sold thousands of these phonographs for $10 each. In the early 1920s, a new invention appeared. It was the radio. Suddenly, people were buying radios instead of phonographs. Thomas said its popularity wouldn't last. He said people would rather pick their own music than have someone choose it for them. Thomas worked his whole life trying to make the phonograph better. At first, it was big and heavy and recorded sound on a large cylinder. In 1929, Thomas made a phonograph small enough to carry easily from room to room. By the 1940s, music was recorded on black plastic discs the size of a 12-inch pizza. These were called records. They held 23 minutes of music on each side. By the 1950s, the sound on a phonograph sounded closer than ever to the sound of live music or speech. Today, we listen to words and music on tapes and compact discs. But it all started when Thomas Edison recited a nursery rhyme.
This is a timeline. A timeline shows a sequence of events in the order they happen. Click the green button to learn more about timelines. This is a timeline of Thomas Edison's life. It begins with his birth. Marks on the timeline show important events. The date below the mark tells you when the event happened. Read the words to find out what happened at that time. Read the timeline to find out when Thomas Edison invented the phonograph. The last entry on Thomas Edison's timeline is the date of his death. Now you know how timelines are used to show important events.
Welcome to The Choice is Right! It's the fast-paced game where I ask the questions and you choose the answers. Choose carefully and you could be the next Choice is Right champion. Today, the game's all about timeline. This timeline shows events in Thomas Edison's life. You'll have to read it to answer my questions. Okay, question number 1. In what year did Thomas invent the incandescent light bulb? Click the button next to the correct answer.
Sometimes we sort information into categories so we can understand it better. These phrases give information from the biography of Thomas Edison. Drag them into these 3 categories: people who tried the phonograph, sounds that Thomas recorded, Inventions for listening to sound. You need to sort all the phrases before your answer can be checked.
Welcome to the Verb Show, featuring the amazing, stupendous, and always active dog. Verbs are action words, things you do. Now let the show begin. Wait a minute. Come back here. Come back. Stay, dog. Stay. Now sit. Speak. Isn't he something, folks? Roll. Jump. Play. Okay, everybody. Since verbs are action words, let's see some real action. Juggle. Wash. Oh, just a spot behind your ears. Now don't forget your neck. Cook. That smells wonderful, doesn't it? Yes, our amazing verb dog can do all kinds of things. But can he fly? What do you think? Can you fly, dog? Are you ready? Fly! And there you go! What an action-packed performance! Let's give a round of applause for the dog and the amazing verbs!
Come on down and join us, 'cause we're all having fun at the Adverb County Fair. Adverbs describe actions, they tell how, when, or where. So let me show you how. You can eat pies quickly, or ring the bell loudly, and bravely sample all of the hot foods. You can drive the tractor slowly while the pumpkin suddenly falls, and the band plays enthusiastically. So come on down and join us, 'cause we're all having fun at the Adverb County Fair. Adverbs describe actions, they tell how, when, or where. Try them now that you know how.
Verbs are one of the most important kinds of words. Every sentence has to have one. Verbs are words that describe actions and tell what someone or something did. This sentence is missing a verb. Find the verb that completes the sentence and drag it to the blank. The inventor pushed the button on her new invention. Way to go! That's the verb. My brother listens to the radio. Good choice. I make amazing inventions. Looking good. Great job with verbs. Let's try something new. Now for adverbs. Adverbs are words that describe a verb. They tell you how something is done. Queen Victoria listened carefully to the phonograph. That's it. That's the adverb. The crowd shouted loudly. Quite right. We bravely tried the new invention. Looking good. Hooray for you! You've got your adverbs down. These words both have the long I sound. Sometimes it's spelled I-G-H, and other times with just a Y. These words both have the long O sound. In some words it's spelled O-W, and in others it's O-E. Write your own sentences using these words. You can click the words to hear how they sound. Let's make new words by adding a prefix. Remember, a prefix is a group of letters added to the beginning of a word. Adding a prefix makes a new word with a new meaning. The prefix miss means badly or incorrectly. Click a blue arrow to make a new word with the prefix miss. Only one of the word choices is correct. Misplace. Great! Misplace means to place badly. Make a new word. Sorry, that word doesn't make sense. Try again. Choose the word that makes sense with the prefix miss. So what's a prefix? It's the part of a word that is at the beginning of a root word. We call those letters prefixes because they come before the root. Here's an example. Look at this word, misuse. Use is the root word, and miss is the prefix because it comes before use. To break apart the prefix from the root word, click each bead to move letters over, like this. The prefix of misuse is miss. Other prefixes we'll learn about are non and pre. Now you try finding prefixes in words. When you've found the prefix, click OK to check your work.
Welcome to The Choice is Right. It's the fast-paced game where I ask the questions and you choose the answers. Choose carefully and you could be the next Choice is Right champion. It's time to be a detective and read for answers. Read this text from the biography Thomas Edison and see if you can answer my question. Okay, question number 1. What was the first thing recorded on a phonograph? Click the button next to the correct answer.
A story about a real person like Thomas Edison is called a biography. Who would you like to learn more about? It could be a friend, your parent, or someone else. Write at least 5 questions you could use to interview that person.